So basically, this is Final Fantasy 1. This is an old game that looks old but isn't as old as it used to look. New old graphics, new old music, and a new old story. The world has gone bad. The earth is sour, the seas are mouldy, and you're always downwind of a bad smell. The fire goes unmentioned, but is presumably lukewarm at best. Blessed by the crystals and the random name option, our 4 heroes of light are Claire, the warrior, Frank, the white mage, Ruckus, the thief, and Anus, the monk. They arrive in Cornelia, 4th planet of the Lilat system, with the goal of going north. The king says, "Hey, nice crystals, but we lost the bridge. My daughter was taken 2 minutes up the road to the Chaos Shrine by Garland, who is a badass, by the way. Bring her back and I'll figure out where I left that bridge." So the heroes set off and find Garland with his suspiciously uneven posse of bats. The climactic battle lasts for almost 40 seconds, and the heroes return with Princess Sarah, wondering how Garland even made it past the fleet of goblins on the way up there. As thanks, the king tells them the prophecy. When the elements are after going a bit crap, the 4 heroes need to fix each crystal to save the world, the first of which lies to the north. Also, the princess gives them a loot. More importantly though, he found a new bridge. So breathtaking is it that the heroes take a moment for a quick Star Wars opening crawl before moving on. In the north, instead of an elemental crystal, they find Matoya, a blind witch whose one good eye has been stolen. So they sleep in her bed and steal all her treasure, then leave. To the east, they find Provoca, a town beset by pirates, and the heroes vow to seek out and defeat their evil captain Bike, who is right over there. After a cruel beating at the hands of Anus, Bike offers his entire pirate ship as an apology. So, 2 potions and an antidote, a quick nap, and a galleon. Not a bad first day on the job. The heroes travel south, across the sea, to Elfheim, where they find a grave, no relation, and the prince, who was put to sleep by a spell. To the west, they find a cave with arguably too many rooms for one room, and a castle containing Astos, the elf, who put the prince to sleep. They kill him and get the crystal eye. They give the eye to the witch, who gives them a potion. They give the potion to the prince, who gives them a key. They return to Cornelia, open a door with the key, and steal some high explosives. They give the explosives to a dwarf that likes to overshare. He introduces a peninsula to the island way of life, and opens the path forward. Amazingly, the heroes figure all this out on their own with absolutely no outside assistance. Onward then to Melmond, where the earth crystal has made the ground so soggy that the townsfolk have forsaken both capitalism and religion. They beg the heroes to restore the crystal, and, desperate to somehow figure out why they have a loot, the heroes oblige. Further to the west lies the Cavern of Earth, a labyrinth of dead ends and monster-filled chests. At its core, the heroes find a vampire, introduce it to Heaven's orbital laser, and find a star ruby. Naturally, the heroes know to bring this to a cave in the north, feed it to a golem who saunters into a different plane of existence, and travel through the cave to find Sada, a hermit who presents them with the earth rod. This allows them to go all the way back down through the cavern, past the pile of vampire dust, and use the rod on a stone tablet, turning it into stairs and opening the rest of the cavern. The heroes, of course, understand that this was a necessary detour, and their journey would not have been half as enriching had they not met the profoundly nuanced Sada, a man famed the world over, not only for having once had the Earth Rod, but now for no longer having the Earth Rod too. Upon reaching the cavern's depths, the heroes discover the corrupted Earth Crystal, as well as the Lich, the Fiend of Earth, who, after taking several angels to the face, quickly falls, allowing the heroes to restore the Earth Crystal and carry on. After a quick circumnavigation of the globe by sea, the heroes discover the town of Crescent Lake, noteworthy in particular for being neither a crescent nor a lake. There they find a secluded clearing with a suspiciously well-spaced out circle of elderly men, who explain, 1/12 at a time, that 4 fiends have made the 4 crystals rubbish, and they will have to be dealt with to save the world. As reward for not questioning the nightcap-wearing, socially distancing pensioners, the heroes are rewarded with a free canoe. Lacking the heart to tell the circle about their much more impressive boat, the heroes thank them and leave. While going for a jaunty row gently up the stream, the heroes find Mount Gulg, an active volcano that had better contained the fire crystal. After overcoming dozens of fights and irreparably damaging several pairs of feet, deep within the volcano, they find the fire crystal and Marilith, the Fiend of Fire. Unfortunately for Marilith, by this point, Anus has learned that his fists are more deadly than any weapon, and the heroes make short work of her. The fire crystal is restored, and the heroes leave, disappointed that the mystery of the loot remains unsolved. Another short canoe journey later, and the heroes find themselves in another cave, much colder than the last. After maneuvering through winding corridors and through shattering floors, they are faced with what may be their most dangerous and daunting challenge yet. A face-off with the cruel and diabolical Evil Eye. So powerful is its gaze that the unlucky few who have survived— oh, it's dead. In its surprisingly pathetic wake, the heroes find the Levystone, which, thanks to their considerable intuition, they know to take to a nearby desert. In doing so, a magnificent airship emerges from the sands, coughing and spluttering but otherwise skyworthy. Their newly found wings lead the heroes to the town of Onrak, which, other than a population strangely obsessed with the existence of legs, seems to be just a dead end at first glance. That is, at least until they encounter an actual dragon just strolling around the town. He points the heroes in the direction of the Dragon King, who lives in a collection of holes in the middle of the ocean. Upon reaching his lair, they discover that he is none other than the biggest and baddest of beasties, Bahamut. He sends the heroes to find a token of courage from the Citadel of Trials, a maze of teleporters bursting at the seams with monsters. They painstakingly ascend to the apex of the tower to claim their prize, a rat's tail. Surely a trophy from one of the zombie dragons standing 2 feet to the right would suit better, they think, but who are they to question if the Dragon King is feeling peckish? Upon their return, the heroes present Bahamut with the rat's tail and receive what is genuinely a disproportionately good reward: the immense raw power of 1980s machismo. It is clear at last that until this moment, our heroes were but children, and now they are men. Claire, now looking less like a warrior and more like a sculpture of a Greek god, being sculpted by a Greek god, and also the chisel is testosterone. Frank, previously a brunette woman, is now a red-haired burly juggernaut of a man, healing others through sheer heavenly intimidation. Ruckus, no longer a simple cut purse, has embraced the shadows to become the coolest being in recorded history, the ninja. To gain access to the forbidden ninja techniques, he has renounced his name and taken a traditional name, which, directly translated, means Ruckus. Finally, Anus, having reached the upper limits of martial prowess, has now imbued himself with the cosmic forces of glam rock, affording his body, and more importantly, his fists, the speed of Eddie Van Halen and the destructive force of a dozen motley crews. Their newfound strength in hand, the heroes set off once again, and hear of a fairy being sold at a desert caravan. They seek out the hidden merchant, buy the fairy, release her at a specific pond, and receive Oxy Ale, which allows underwater breathing, as a reward. They return to Onrak, where a woman somewhere between a mermaid and a ghost allows them to use her submarine. This brings the heroes to the underwater sunken shrine, which may as well have a water crystal themed gift shop by the entrance. They stampede their way through the shrine, eviscerating all that would dare stand in their way. Even the regrettably phallic fiend of water, the Kraken, is casually reduced to a fine paste as the water crystal is restored. They also find the Rosetta Stone, which allows them to learn the language of the Lufenian people for the low price of $11.99 a month or $349 for lifetime access. The Lufenians, though shocked that someone would pay for it, are friendly and give the heroes a chime, allowing them access to the Mirage Tower and, ultimately, the ancient flying fortress. Although bombarded by warnings of immense danger, the heroes dispatch Tiamat, the Fiend of Wind, with ease, though they are beginning to see the disadvantage of forsaking defense in the name of more punches. With all 4 crystals restored, the fortress's observation deck reveals the Chaos Shrine as the point of convergence, the source of the corruption. Painfully aware that they could have just left the loot there and collected it later, the heroes set off all the same. Within the Chaos Shrine, they realized that they were the missing member of the Bat Posse all along, and used the power of friendship, crystals, and echolocation to activate the Black Crystal and send themselves back 2,000 years into the past. Alright. In the past, they used the loot to turn a slab into a staircase and, at last, bring peace to the world. They do have to fight the fiends again so they can leave, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same as ever. Finally, they reach the depths of the shrine and find the true villain, the architect of all the world's suffering, Garland, who it appears is still figuring out his own plan. So, the heroes kill Garland and save the princess, but the crystals, corrupted by the fiends, save him and send him back in time so that he can send the fiends forward in time to corrupt the crystals. He then gets embarrassed and turns into a Power Rangers monster. Chaos takes more slaps to the face than most, but like the rest, down he goes. What follows is an intense doubling down on a time loop idea that, fittingly, ended before it ever really began. Thankfully, a mention is given to the memorable characters the heroes met along the way. like Princess Sarah, giver of lutes, and Queen Jane, who is this woman. In closing the time loop, Claire, Frank, Ruckus, and Anus were both the saviors of the world and never existed. But their legend will never die.